Welcome you all to class number 1. We've got 8 of them. It's the plan of supporting your conscious activism. So, so glad you're here. So glad you continue to make it through yes, the link challenges and that you made it. So I really appreciate you. Appreciate you for being here, and appreciate you for even considering something that might be taking you out of what you would normally be doing at this time of your day. So one thing that in every group that we do around Evolutionary Power Institute is just try to come into our bodies, and I especially think that's a good idea. Sometimes I'm like, okay. Whew. Although I have to say, over the months of years now of Zoom, my reactivity level continues to go down. I think because my sense of control has gone down with it. I don't know, maybe they're meeting in the middle. Hey, Jen, thanks for hanging in there, fighting us. We like to keep it secret. It's like meet us in the secret place. Not really. Yeah. So my plan over these next weeks is to teach you the best stuff I know, which is really fun to say. I've been doing this work, well, this particular kind of body-centered, more somatic work since 1995. And so that's a lot of things that I've been refining over time. And I like being pragmatic. I like kind of getting it down to what's the easiest, what's the most direct, most effective way to handle a challenge. Um, I especially like the right tool for the job. I don't know if anybody else on this call so far has that feeling of, the right wrench, and it's not too big, it's not too small, it just fits. And so suddenly it's more efficient, more effective. And that's what I just love that feeling. I don't know why. So that's what I want to show you. And some of those will work for you, and some of those might be like, I don't know why this seems important. But that's what I've been refining for my career. So that's what I'm offering to you. Please take it forward. That's my hope, that this whole idea here is this is my creative action in the current election cycle, but beyond. As I've been talking to people and handing them my cute little book. They said, "Oh yeah, for climate change. Oh yeah, for the next things that we're doing beyond." So this is one piece. This little few weeks before the U.S. election that people may be having feelings about. Seems like it. Been hearing some things. But then to be able to take these same tools and apply them wherever it might be, at your Thanksgiving dinner table. I don't know, or right. Who knows where you might bring this forward, because everything that I'm teaching is very much about um, how can I generate more of a sense of my own power, my own effectiveness in the world, where I'm creating the world I really want to live in. So that's what I'm going to be showing you all, is that. Now, thanks for being here, those of you that are here today. And people can keep joining, right? So that if you like what you're seeing, please ask other folks, and maybe we'll give them the right link. I don't know. They might have to pay for it to you. Anyway, please add more, and they can go back and watch this video, and then and successive videos will, so they can keep doing that. That's my plan. Can go back to it. We are setting it up. I thought we had it set up. We're getting there so that you can actually access this very directly. I'll probably place this video on the landing page. I'll send you things. Shanna was helping me even figure out how to do an email, because well, things keep moving along and I have to learn the next version of this. So thanks, Shanna, very much for helping me and supporting me. All right. So, and there's the chat, and I'll put the chat so that I can see it. If you have questions, comments, you want to stop and say, hey, hang on, I don't get it. Please let me know. Right. Or if you, yeah, just you can use your little thumb things and kind of make it go up. So here we go. This little book. So here's what it looks like in person, y'all. It's very cute. It's little. You can. My favorite moment so far was I handed it to someone who said, "Oh, okay, good," and she stuck it right in her purse. I'm like, oh, okay. It's very purse size. You can stick it in your back pocket. Of course, you all probably have PDFs at this point. I will put that into the chat if you don't. Um, Same idea, please. Oh, look, Mark. That was a good moment. Just this is taking my attention. Marge is my beloved and very challenging editor. So every word, really, literally, Marge is a poet. So as you read these words, please listen for the poetry of them, because where I began, it was like starting with, just imagine, like a really big bush, and then now it's one of those topiaries. It's just been trimmed down, so everything is like Michelangelo, right? That's right. How did you sculpt David? Well, I just took everything away. I don't know what he really said, but Marge did that. So thank you very much, Marge. Big tip of the hat to you for your hard work with that. And what do you have? What does your hat say? I can't see. Oh, my Kamala Harris. Okay, yes. Now, thanks for getting my attention there, because yes, this is maybe about the election. It's not about one or the other. You can wear all of your political paraphernalia. That's fine with me. But it really isn't about supporting anybody. Ultimately, like this book is dedicated to Team Human. And that's our 9th step. We'll get to there. But isn't that cute? Like a little to Team Human. This is saying we're all on the same side. We're all on the same team. We're all connected, and that our strength comes from that connection. I had a wonderful, great fortune of playing with my softball team over the weekend, and feel the empowerment of connection and going towards the same goal, even if the goal is to just try to hit the ball and catch the ball and throw the ball. So when we come together and link arms as humans, it's, in my opinion, it's our natural state to be in connection and contact with each other, and that when we do that, we are capable of doing anything. Really, that's what I think. It's arguable, and it's totally what I believe. So today, what I want to do is just give you some context for what is this whole evolutionary power idea. And we'll start playing with the first couple of steps. So the idea behind this is there's 10 steps, 10 steps to move yourself out of your own reactivity into something that feels creative and generative. It's this little book. My thought months ago was, when I started to imagine what would happen during this election for me and for people around me, there was a book called I'm having a little brain moment. It's not on. Can you help me, Marge?
On tyranny? On tyranny?
On tyranny. Thank you. I was on authoritarianism. Yeah, on tyranny. This little book called On Tyranny. Did you see it, Carolyn? This little book was floating around, and he had 20 steps or 20 sort of wake up calls about authoritarianism and what we needed to learn about that. I was very taken by that, like, whoa, it's simple, clear. And that was 2017. And so now that we've evolved and in these years, I said, okay, I wanted to start there, but kind of really model after the simplicity of those concepts. But tyranny is one thing. It's like the old, this idea of we're moving beyond what was. And I really want to. And so instead of being so fascinated by what's wrong, to really move towards what we really want to create. So that was my idea behind wanting to do this little book and just send it out the way he did. Timothy Snyder's, I think, to really say hello to him out there, wherever he might be doing his work. So I want to talk about evolutionary power, because Evolutionary Power Institute, that's what we are teaching from. It's our nonprofit that we created about 3 years ago now, maybe 4, with this idea that what if we get to go beyond these old ideas of what power looks like. Right? So thinking about power, I'll just give you my own thoughts of power, but if anybody wants to chime in, like power over, like I always think of these old cartoons, right? Of the the guy with the cigar, usually this white kind of rotund guy somewhere in my brain. I don't know where I even saw that. Kind of in some back room, making the deals and doing all the things, very power over. So in general, I think our definitions of power have to do with I have more power than you, and I'm going to force you to do what I want you to do. And that's the whole game, right? Who's got more power? Okay, which political party is going to be in power and make the other people do what they want to do? It this whole idea of I'm going to push you and you're going to push back and we're going to just keep pushing. Now, what I've noticed when I do that myself is it takes a lot of energy. I mean, it takes a lot of energy because in general, people who are being pushed resist and push back. And so it takes so much energy to keep this whole thing going. So if I'm going to keep pushing you down, because you're going to be pushing me out of that, I've got to put more and more energy into that. That whole thing seems very, very inefficient to me. Versus, hey, let's just figure out what we all want and let's go for it. Let's free up that energy, just move together towards what we really want. Because the weapons, the whatever, like the people in general, if I'm powered down, I will comply as long as you're around. I mean, there's research about that. If you're around as the boss, sure, I'll obey. But when you go away, then I'm like, poof, here I am. Oh, I'm going to steal your stuff. Like there's a way to get our power back always, always, always. So let's step into our power instead of having to sort of be stuck in these power struggles. So that's the context here. Um, and I see it's okay. I was playing with the whiteboard and I want to go over a few of these things and then I will pause my rapid speaking and check in with you all and ask some questions, I think. But first, so I want to show you my whiteboard. Um, I'm pausing because I'm having feelings. So I'm going to stop the share and tell you what feelings I'm having. Stop. Just go away. Stop the share. And I might not have any more feelings if I don't stop the share soon. Get me out of here. My belief is that our natural state is joy. Now, I didn't always believe that because I was raised in a family where, as far as I was concerned, I mean, I was four kids. Well, we fought a lot. Fought. I mean, as the fourth, I had a brother. Fought, like physical fighting. And I was littler, so I often was at not the winning end of that fighting. So I really thought the world was a dangerous place. So anybody else have that belief, like in your body somewhere, that the world is a dangerous place? Marge, yeah. I mean, that I just assumed that to be true. I was walking around in that world and I was scared to ask questions. Because people were scary. So then starting to imagine something different, I think it was, I don't know, along the way, I read a quote that was attributed to Einstein, basically saying, deciding whether you live in a friendly or an unfriendly universe is the most important decision that we make. Well, I didn't know there was a decision. I really didn't. I just thought it was true that it was unfriendly. So I think that was the first inkling that there might be something else. And that was decades ago, thankfully. Although I can't say that my body always believes me that when it's friendly. No, really, it's a friendly place. It's like, ah. But to start to sort that and to say, oh, wait a second. What if there is a whole friendly universe? What if I can relax and tune into nature and understand that when I connect with me and I connect with you and I connect with all that is, that it's an entirely different experience. So that's what I want to offer you all to say that's the world I'm painting here. Not to say that it's not unfriendly. I've got plenty of evidence, and as do you, of unfriendliness. We can see, right? We could all the live long day, we could talk about that. So I'm not saying that's not true as well. I'm saying to start to orient and to move towards and to see the possibility of the world is a friendly universe, that our natural state, my natural state, if I wasn't leaning forward, if I wasn't worrying about the Zoom, like, and you might take a moment yourselves to come back into your body and remember that when you reset, when you've got a good night's sleep, when you've had the right food, when you're just hanging out, I don't know, I was laying on the grass last week, right? To remember your state, your natural state is expansive. Well, this is the part where I have feelings. Joyful, loving, connected to you, connected to all that is. That's a huge piece of this whole context, is to say, oh, we're in this together. When we go to our natural state, we naturally connect. We're all on the same side. Um, Now, when I was at the first part, I appreciate our last 8 years, 7, 8 years. My story of this whole experience is um, just like COVID. The last 8 years or 7 have been full of opportunities to strengthen my system. So I assume, is my immune system stronger from having COVID and all those? Probably, maybe, right? It learned, there was this new virus to contend with. And I think regardless of your opinions about personalities, you look at what crept up, especially in the US, maybe across the planet. Oh, kind of our fear, the darkness, all this stuff that was under the surface, ooh, kind of really came forward. And I think we've been finding a way to handle it, to as a species, to say, oh, wait a second. At least as a white person, I didn't think about racism. I never really thought about or faced into slavery, or, like a lot of these pieces that, oh, the darkness that's still in there. And can I actually face into and process that? So for me, I have a sense of mm, stuff coming up and out and through, that I feel stronger for. So going back to this pre- presupposition, and I'll go back to this concept that I was trying to get you to talk to you about, that this is power with. Power with is our natural state. That power over and power under is not our natural state. Imagine that. To just take a moment to think, wait a second, but I thought I was supposed to, be a badass and charge in there and do the thing. Why can't I do that? Especially as a woman, there's so many. I mean, I think that is basically who I'm connecting with at this point, which is great. Not just women, but women. We know connection is so vital. Men do too, but right there might be a different pressure or whatever. I don't need to go into that, but although Deborah Tannen, who uh, thought a lot about how we communicate with each other, some of you know her work. She said man when a man walks into a room, and of course totally arguable, but and totally exaggerating, what he sees is where he lines in the pecking order. When a woman walks into a room, what she's looking for is how to connect with others. So what we're bringing forward is profound and so important, and we know it and we can see it. So I'm encouraging you that your proclivity to connect, your natural tendency to go for connection over conflict because you want things to feel better, you don't like this sense of disconnection and fighting, that good, keep going, keep going. That's what really, I think, I think it's who we are, and that we just forgot that we go into hierarchy when we believe when our bodies think there's a threat, and we'll talk about that in a different week. But or maybe we will talk about it a little bit today. I'm not sure. But that your real self, going back to this, is in connection. And that, in fact, what I believe is that we don't need to be stuck in conflict at all. That there are skills, and I'll be teaching them next time, a very specific skill that will get me through conflict and down to the real issue and back into connection very directly. So you can have that too. I will teach that to you. It is a stunningly effective and reliable skill that, yes, connection, good, keep going. And that means if you feel disconnected from others, that just means that something happened. It doesn't mean that's what's true. It just means your body lost you for a moment. So I know I'm talking a lot, but I do want to outline the next these three pieces because you're going to see them in your book about what are the precepts about evolutionary power. So here's three. There's the three big ones that I was pulling forward. What do we have control over, right? 12 steps, like, not much. I let go of what I can't control, right? All of those things. Well, I don't have control very much, except I have so much control over what I have control over. My inner state is the thing I have some level of control over. Now, when I react, like suddenly, like I'm not controlling if something happens out there and like, "Oh, I'm not in control of that." Good, because my reactive brain is like, oh, automatic response. But if I get conscious and aware, I can connect in with what's going to strengthen me versus I don't have to stay connected to the things that actually weaken my physiology. This one, that our projections and unconscious patterns can just tangle us and just ensnare us to the point that we think they're true. See, the life is whatever. Fill in the blank. I kind of watch that. Uh, I'll start read an article that says, "Well, we all know that the world is falling apart." I'm like, what? Or everything is worse and things are terrible. Like, I don't know that. Is it true? So to watch for that. And that we'll be talking about projections. Projections. I'm projecting right now. I have to project. I'm looking ahead. I'm looking to what I imagine is going to happen if I keep talking in the next 30 seconds. I have to project. However, I can just get totally just tangled in my own stories. And so I want to support you to shift out of those. I said three, there's four. We create from our state, meaning whatever my physiology is, I'm going to be making up my stories from that physiology. And again, I'll go through this more carefully. So if I don't want to live in that particular reality, if I change my state, that's where my true power is. So those are some basic concepts that we're going to come back to a lot in the next few weeks. Okay, let's see if I can actually close this. I don't even know how. How about over here? Ah, look, it worked. So I'm going to walk you through some stuff in a minute here, the first couple of steps of the book. But first, I want to check in. Anybody have any thoughts, comments that you want to say? Nope, nope. Yeah, Carolyn.
When you say change your state, you said change your physiology. I'm assuming you're not meaning just like how your body is in space, but like your emotional, or what exactly do you mean by state and physiology?
I always want to give her the extra $10 for the segue. Way to go, Carolyn. Because let's talk about that. Now, does anybody need the PDF? Do you all have it? Because I have it all set if you knew. No, you've got it. Okay, good. So I won't do that. By the way, you can get actual books if you go to Integrity Arts Press. That's where we've stowed them. So meaning, well, they're sitting in my house, but that's how you can order them. You can order one for like the full price is $12. That's crazy. But you can order 5 for $35, and you can order, I don't know what we did, 10 for, I don't know. And what's true is I will send them to you for whatever you want to donate. So all that stuff was just to get it's up online. If you send me an email at evolutionarypower5@gmail.com, we'll send you books. I just want to get them out, get them out. And if you want to donate, terrific. That would be great. The idea of just being, if the more we get in, the more I can create and just get them sent out. So that's how you get actual cute little books to put in your purse or your back pocket. All right. So Carolyn says, wait a second. What do you mean change your state? You didn't say it that way. So I want to walk us through that. So first, I want to show you and walk around the inner map. Now, some of you know this very well, and you could be teaching it, but this is for the sake of those that have never seen it and are watching this for who knows where. So I want to do a few minutes on the inner map. This is something that I love so much. It's helped me so. If you get to know me, I'm a little bit of an airhead. Yeah, it's true and strange, but I mean there are good things about it. But one of the downsides is I don't have the best sense of direction. So I like to know where I am, and I automatically think of those mall maps where it says you are here, right? You go find the directory, you are here. Like, oh, thank God I know where I am, because I don't know where I am. How can I get to where I want to go if I don't know where I am? You are here. Here's where the other places, the store you want to get to or whatever. So this is that, all right, y'all, is to find out where are you right now. So I'm going to give you a little tour and then we'll talk more about that. So this is from David Hawkins. Thank you. His map of consciousness. Read his book, Power versus Force. He's got many others. They're fabulous. I highly recommend them. And I think my life is completely different because of him. But the idea here is that the things down here at the bottom of the map have very little energy. Shame, bleh, if you remember shame, like just that kind of frozen, bleh, I don't want to move. And that to notice that when I feel guilty, I don't feel good, but I feel better than I did when I felt ashamed. So that as you move up the line, what you're noticing is that there's just more freed up energy. You don't feel necessarily better. If I'm crying, like, I'm not happy when I'm in that sadness place. I guess that's big duh. But at least I feel better than I did down here, because now there's something happening. Things are moving. A lot of people like to feel angry because they feel more powerful than they do if they're down here. But look at this line, everything below the line. So when we talk about below the line, above the line, we're talking about this line. Everything below the line is reactive brain. It's our bodies in response to threat. Because then when you look up here, look, oh, those that feel good, acceptance, appreciation, love, joy. To know this, going back to this is our natural state if we are not perceiving there to be a threat. Doesn't matter if there is or isn't, our bodies have detected a threat. Somebody else might be like, nah, there's nothing to be scared of. And my body's like, I had insomnia the other night, like, Julie, there's nothing to be scared of. Yeah, my body like, yeah, it's too bad for you. Mind. So, right. So understanding where was I was in kind of a frozen fear state. Right, so just knowing where I am so that then I can know, oh, I'm in reactive brain. Okay, then what can I do to get out of reactive brain and get back into creative brain? That's the whole thing. That's really everything. I just taught you all 8 classes right there. But to know I'm in reactive brain and then to start to see, and it's everything to do with me, how I get to creative brain. So to your question, Carolyn, yes, is it a physiology? Is it changing in space? It might be, but there's a lot of pieces to this, including just noticing where I am right now. Let's see. I got some agitated fear here. You can do the same thing, just noticing. I got some acceptance. I've got a lot of appreciation. right? It's not just one thing, but so some part of me is still in reactive brain, but then I can also notice and start to connect more and more to my own creative brain self. So that's the idea, is noticing my physiology and then being able to move and shift my physiology itself. So the first steps here, stop the share. Step one, now I'm reading from my little book. Something I appreciate about this book, so I've been handing it out. I say to people, you could read this in the bathroom and you'd be done. Like, okay, I don't know. It depends on how long you're in there, I guess. But the very first step is to recognize the signs that I'm in reactive brain. So let's talk about that for a moment. Like, as you started to see yourself on reactive or creative, did anybody have any signs to themselves of being in reactive brain? Some signals from the inside. So for me, kind of pulling forward, I can feel some, actually, now that I notice it, I already start to shift, but some kind of congested, tight feeling right here. Anybody else? Any signals of reactivity in your bodies? Esme, your hand is up.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Great. I can't see you.
Yes,
I can hear
I'm
you.
sorry, I'm having video troubles,
Well, I'm glad you're here.
but I'm here and I'm present listening. Just for me, I can tell I'm in a reactive space if it's hard for me to breathe or if I'm breathing quickly.
Right, you've got some nods. I don't know if you can see people.
I can see everyone. I'm sorry.
We can't see you.
You just can't see me.
Yeah, I can't breathe very well. Yeah, I noticed my breathing is kind of up from my solar plexus up versus a deeper belly breath. Yeah. Great. Any other signals that you're noticing? Or have noticed from the past that you're in reactive brain? Yeah, Carolyn.
For me, a lot of times it's the throat, kind of scratchy, tight throat.
Yeah, kind of tight throat. Yeah.
Yeah.
I get tense. I don't know. Do you do this? Sometimes I was doing this when I drove over today. Sometimes I ride my bike. I was kind of pushing. Like I was just tight for no reason. I was like, Julie, just relax. No, but my body's like, no, I should be. I don't know why. What kind of a tension for no particular reason, or maybe there is a reason, but contracted muscles.
Yeah, Julie, I'll notice that my heart, I'll notice that.
Kind of fast beat.
Yeah. And then sort of like a pressure in the stomach. It's kind of like a clenching sensation. And sometimes kind of a sense of energy rushing up the front. And I think that's sort of tied in with that.
So API, we do a lot of what are the sensations, which seemed, I mean, sometimes when I teach that, my mind's like, okay, it's like, but the sensations, noticing the sensations is this, it's everything. Wow. Oh, I didn't even know, because here's this tricky thing about being human. Going along, and then something happens and our attention goes there. Of course it does. What was that? What was that? It's they call it an orienting response. Mammals have it. Like, there's nothing we can do about that. It's automatic. It's totally programmed. But then, look, our attention is out there. I guess I should go out there. Up there. It's the opposite of what will actually help us. Because if I come back in here, oh, my heart is beating. I can't breathe. Oh, now I'm reconnecting to what I can actually, where I can shift my physiology, because I can start to do the things. But that is a tricky move, because it really, our physiology is pulling us there. And thank you, Reactive Brain, for doing that. Because of course we need to know, is that thing gonna fall on our heads? Is that person dangerous? I don't know, I just heard that big bang. Is that something I need to worry about? Right? So thank you, Reactive Brain, except for, now I gotta remember to crank back into the internal one more time. How many times in a day? I don't know. As many times as it takes. Now, there's another whole piece of this to notice, because yes, it's my physiology, but what are you starting to think? Because that's another clue to you that you're in reactive brain. So when I'm in reactive brain, usually I'm thinking, oh my God, there's something wrong. Right? So it's something wrong. It's probably you. Oh no, it's something wrong with me, but there's definitely something wrong. Anybody have other typical thoughts when that would be like signals? Okay, I just changed. I'm in reactive brain. What other thoughts are you having?
For me, I think, like you said, Julie, the stories, but sometimes noticing they're really familiar stories. Like, yeah, I've run these ones how many times? Yeah.
So familiar story. And Shanna, what's an example of a familiar story for you?
I find they come up in relationship, and particularly probably my intimate relationship. And it's like, oh yeah, here we go again. I know this. You're
right. This will never work. Why am I doing this? I can't believe we're back here again. Yeah, all that stuff. But to start to see that not as the truth, this is tricky, right? No, it's true. Oh God, a million times. Here we go again. You said you were gonna. I can't believe you didn't. Like all those things sound very easily believed, but they're actually indicators that we are in reactive brain. We're trying to tell ourselves, March, yeah.
You know, I was just thinking, Julie, that I don't want this to cloud it. I think it's just an awareness that will be very valuable for me. Is I actually don't even notice the physical things. I'm sure they're there, but mostly it's so-and-so's unsafe. And then all I know is it starts with being aware of how I'm hyper. It's like my whole energy field just went like this. And I'm so not available. I'm so not available. I don't even know if thoughts happen. It's just like a big no.
No.
And so I do notice that there's joy in my body when I feel unself-conscious. Like for a minute there, I just felt unself-conscious, but I could go right back to feeling unsafe. And, so mostly what I notice is this sort of cloud of hyper self-consciousness, or no and that state of no self-consciousness is so delicious. Anyway, I'm sure if I were to break all that down, heart's going, I can't breathe, and thoughts are happening. But I really am noticing that I relate to this like it's true. Bad. You bad people.
Bad. Somebody's bad.
It's so pre-verbal even. It's such a no. Anyway, that's good to know, because I'm in that state a lot in the last 8 years. I mean, honestly, I'm ready to cry. Like I walk around in that state. I'm so closed in. So that's what I'm noticing. I didn't ever before think that was my reactive brain doing that whole like, so
I'm having this image of you as a transformer, those transformer superhero people, like just armored over. Yeah. So I don't know how you put it, but my thought was, it's a million years of being a mammal. That's a lot of years. I mean, that's really what I keep saying, contending with it. But it's a wonderful thing. It's why we all still are here in bodies, because that has worked for us to a degree. But wow, it can create such suffering to have and then believe it's true and see those people bad, and then we're walking around in that world which is why I have wanted to do this, because, or we don't have to walk around in that world. But knowing that we're doing it is like a huge step, that our physiology just did the whole thing to protect us, defend us. But that doesn't mean we have to stay in it. It just means it's the first thing, the reaction. But then we can become aware and start to respond instead of just react. There's my entire life work, like career-wise, but from my own body. Now, I am planning to end on the hour, because I know people had planned, where I believe people had planned this as an hour thing. So in this next 6 minutes, I want to just bring in the second step of this. Okay, so noticing, that was my first step. Recognize the signs. I love this so much. And then like 4 pages later, decide to shift. You don't have to shift. So can we all go into, I'm not shifting. So let your body like, because I don't want to. And you can't make me. Because then it's a choice. You don't have to decide to shift. Today, maybe I won't shift. Or the next 15 minutes or whatever, I'm like, no, I'm going to be really upset about this whole link thing. You can tell it's still there, right? Because if I had only done the thing, and then blah, and I'll stay with that. Or I could be like, okay, Julie, do you want to shift? Now I can then decide, well, okay. I actually used it's stuff I've been using these 10 things. And I was with some friends on a trip over the summer, and I was on a walk. I can see it right now. And I was thinking, okay, what was step 1? Okay, recognize the sign. Okay, recognize the sign. And step 2, decide to shift. And I could feel my ambivalence. But I am right. It's true. I don't want to shift. Julie, decide to shift. Some of the time, just so you know, I'm like, Julie, treats the shit. Are you going to shift? Very helpful for me. So, and sometimes no, you don't have to, right? So this is not anybody pushing you to say, if you're a better person, if you, it's like, nope. Decide to shift. And if you do decide to shift, then, okay, then this other world of possibilities is there. And even as I was walking, I can remember that feeling of, oh, I could stay in this. And I'm really not having that much fun doing this, but I kind of like it. Right. And not just right, but the world makes sense this way. Right? As long as I don't shift, I can keep everybody, this is true, and that was true, and if they hadn't done this, and if I hadn't said this, but then, okay, decide to shift. And I could feel, it's like the clouds for me. I could stay in the clouds, or there is a sun out there, Julie, you know, the blue sky is there, and I could, oh, okay, I'll decide to try to, you decide to try, you can hear it. I'm going to go for it. I'm going to go to this third, you can hear me, the third step, which is the preview for the real deal here. When we get to the SEW part, that's what I'm going to teach next time. It's so, I love that tool so much, because then it's like I really could feel, even now I can feel myself, okay, then I started getting out of this kind of hell that I had created for myself into some new possibility. So that's what we've got going for us next time, is looking at those ways to start to shift, because that's what all the rest of the steps are. All right, well, with a couple minutes left, Esme, thank you for her heart with little sparkles. Does anybody have anything that they want to say before we end? And maybe especially if any of you have done any of this work before, that you could speak to anything that might be a tip for folks who haven't done as much of this work. Or even if you're just,
The one
go ahead, yeah, please. Yeah.
One thing that just came up for me, Julie, around talking about the choice to shift. I heard someone say the expression the other day. It's like yeah, you absolutely can stay where you are, just be aware you're signing up for a different experience. And I really liked that, because then I see the choice in it more clearly as well. Like, actually, where do I want to be right now?
I'm seeing it like an amusement park. Okay, I'm gonna go to the hell realm of the mirrors and all of that. Or I'm gonna pick the roller, the big I'm gonna take a different ride. Not the roller coaster,
Yeah.
it could be the roller coaster, or maybe I'll just take the gentle lazy river ride. Which ride do you want to sign up for? It's beautiful.
I want to add something, but I don't want to, there's others who haven't spoken yet. And so I just want to.
See, connection overall. Yay.
It's okay to, so here's what I think is true, and it may be what next week gets into, Julie, is it doesn't matter that I've read, it doesn't matter how much I buy into this intellectually. This body and this brain, which is probably a reactive brain, either don't believe that if I do this, there'll be a broad range of creative possibilities to solve the current problem. Like, I don't in my cells buy that. And maybe it's because there's so much evidence that reactive decisions have actually gotten desirable outcomes, but maybe not the optimal outcome. And so I'm just noticing, and I get that you're not making it good or bad, but I think in that moment, I just go, no, F it. I want this outcome now.
Yeah.
I want this, right? So anyway.
Right. Yeah.
I don't believe myself. I don't believe it yet,
Yeah, right. Especially in our culture is filled with like all of the things of, yeah, I was a badass. I did stand up to them. I did say the thing, and they blanched and they backed down and it worked great. It's like, well, yeah, except that was a power struggle. So yes, getting out of that trance state of, no, that is better to look like that really strong, forceful person that's gonna, make some shit happen, versus, no, what if we could move beyond that? That's the evolutionary piece, is to say it's time to move beyond that. Sure, it can work if I have a gun to your head, or I force you because I'm bigger, or I say the meanest words. But what if we could move beyond that and find each other and find what that feels like? But yeah, it's that adrenaline rush is pretty seductive and pretty addictive. Thank you everyone for being here today. Thanks for playing. And I'm guessing, planning, intending that next time we'll have more time to do a little bit more with each other. But thanks for being the virgin voyage here of finding us, even though we created some obstacles for you. I hope to see you next time. All right. Bye.
Thanks, Julie.
Bye.